Assalamu alaikum. In this video, I will discuss about judicial review. Let's see at first what is judicial review. Judicial review is a process under which executive, legislative, and administrative action are subject to review by the judiciary. Okay. According to Black's Law Dictionary, judicial review is the court's power to review the actions of other branches of government. By applying this power, judiciary can declare an action of administrative, legislative, or judicial body unconstitutional or invalid due to violating the principle of constitution. Okay, the underlying object of judicial review is to ensure that the authority does not abuse its power and individual receives just and fair treatment. Okay, generally judicial review deals with three aspects. Number one, judicial review of legislative action. Number two, judicial review of judicial decision. Number three, judicial review of administrative action. And in this video, I will just discuss about the judicial review of administrative action. Okay. Here I have mentioned some specific ground under which an administrative action may be the subject to judicial review. Okay. The first point is acting without jurisdiction. Every authority, every administrative authority must act within its jurisdiction. If it acts ultra vires, if this administrative authority violates its arena of jurisdiction, if it's act without jurisdiction, such an administrative action will be subject to judicial review. Okay. Similarly, if an administrative authority act exceeding its jurisdiction, it also be subject to judicial review. The statutory law fixes the limit of administrative authority. It must not exceed this limit. If it exceeds its limit, the action taken by such a way will be subject to judicial review. Okay. The next point is arbitrary action. An administrative action must be rational and not arbitrary. If it arbitrary, it will be subject to judicial review. We know that sometimes administrative authority has been given discretionary power. If the administrative authority uses such a discretionary power arbitrarily in unreasonable way, such an action will be subject to judicial review. Discretionary power must be exercised by the administrative authority in right sense, in just and fair way. The next grounds of judicial review: irrelevant consideration, leaving out relevant consideration, mixed consideration. A power conferred on administrative authority by statute must be exercised on the relevant consideration, or it must not be such that the action is taken based on partly relevant consideration and partly irrelevant consideration. That is called mixed consideration. If an administrative action is taken based on irrelevant consideration or leaving out relevant consideration or based on mixed consideration, that's mean partly on relevant consideration and partly on irrelevant consideration, such an action will be subject to judicial review. Let's see an example of taking administrative action based on irrelevant consideration. Suppose a school authority suspend a lady teacher because the lady teacher was not hot, was unsexy. Now, uh, suspending such a lady teacher based on gender discrimination is totally irrelevant consideration. The next ground is malified action. If the administrative action is taken in malified, that's mean if an administrative power is exercised unreasonably, unlawfully, and not in bona fide intention, such an action will be subject to judicial review. The next ground on which an administrative action is subject to judicial review is unreasonableness. I have mentioned here a case name Meneka Gandhi versus Union of India. By this case, we will explain these grounds. It's an Indian case. In this case, the petitioner was Meneka Gandhi, whose passport was issued on 1st June 1976 as per the Passport Act of 1967. Okay, but on 2nd July 1977, the regional passport office ordered Meneka Gandhi to surrender her passport. Before such order, the authority didn't give any notice, any reason that why she should surrender her passport. Meneka Gandhi claimed that it was arbitrary decision of the authority. By this decision, her right to personal liberty provided by Article 21 of the Indian Constitution was infringed. Then the passport officer claimed that they have such a power under the statutory law, but it was held that they had power to do so, but this power must be exercised in a reasonable way. This power should not be exercised in unreasonable and arbitrary way. Before ordering to surrender the passport office should give notice, should give opportunity to show cause why her passport should not be surrendered. Okay, but the authority didn't do so. So their action was subject to judicial review. Then the next ground is collateral purpose or improper object. A statutory power conferred on the administrative authority must be exercised for the specified purpose. Okay, but if it is used for a different or collateral or improper purpose, there is a chance of abusing statutory power, and such an action will be illegal and subject to judicial review. Sometimes administrative action was taken based on colorable exercise of power. That is, sometimes a administrative power is exercised by the authority ostensibly for the purpose for which it was conferred, but in reality, the power was exercised in some other purpose. It is called colorable exercise of power, and this colorable exercise of power causes judicial review. Okay. Then the another ground is non-observation of doctrine of natural justice. We know what is natural justice. If any principle of natural justice is violated, the administrative action based on such non-observation of principle of natural justice is subject to judicial review. Okay. Then the next ground of judicial review is non-observation of doctrine of proportionality. Proportionality means that the administrative action should not be more drastic than it ought to be for obtaining the desired result. Okay, if it violates this principle of proportionality, such an action will be subject to judicial review. Okay. Then the next ground is non-observation of doctrine of legitimate expectation. We have already discussed about the doctrine of legitimate expectation. Doctrine of legitimate expectation means a reasonable and logical expectation. It's not a legal right. This right is claimed based on past consistent practice or express promise by the concerned authority. The violation of doctrine of legitimate expectation causes judicial review. If you want to know about legitimate expectation in details, you may watch it from the link given in description. Then the next ground is non-application of mind and conscience. During exercise of power, an administrative body must apply its minds, its conscience, its reasons. That means it take decision based on equity. If it not so, it will be subject to judicial review. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.